So Sylvanas literally just returned in 10.1.7 first time after Shadowlands, and this is 100% an obvious setup for her actual return in the future. She talks about how she regrets her decisions, how she's proud of the Forsaken, and the most yikes part is she says she hopes to one day walk among the Forsaken again, which obviously means that this isn't just flavor text for Sylvanas loyalists, seeing how lacklustre the Night Elven Heritage questline was in 10.1.7 and how they're not getting any closer to giving Night Elves any peace. Personally, I just don't understand why exactly is Blizzard so keen on still pushing Sylvanas despite the absolutely terrible reception of her these past few expansions. Interestingly enough though, we're finally getting some hints of Nathanos and his whereabouts. So what is this new conversation, and is Blizzard really setting the ground to return Sylvanas back to Azeroth? If you guys want to buy Total War, Elder Scrolls, or any other game, you can get them at great prices with my Gamivo link. You can also get anything Warcraft related, gift cards and software, and all below market prices. Best of all, if you add my code DORON, you can get an even bigger discount, so make sure to check out my link in the description and get some amazing deals with Gamivo. So previously we had determined the return of Sylvanas, and looks like we were completely right. She did actually return in the newest patch, although as a message. However, what is really important to note is that this is 100% a setup for something that is going to come in the future, which is really worrying because not only did she get off lightly back at the end of Shadowlands, but Blizzard is so obviously setting this up for something to happen in the future, which is really just yikes. So to give some context to this, and all of this is a part of the Undead Heritage questline, and just as we had determined, the Undead are reclaiming Lordaeron for themselves. The Scarlet Crusade had returned with a new leader trying to destroy the Forsaken, take over their territories, which I gotta say is a bit surprising as I wasn't expecting them to be this powerful and numerous, seeing that we didn't learn anything of them these past years and they had been defeated like a million times. Plus, I really feel like they missed a chance here to give Scarlet Crusade much more depth. I mean, something akin to peace with them would have been so much more interesting than them just being these one-dimensional lunatics that want to completely destroy all undead. I digress. As we finish up the Undead Heritage questline, and if you're a loyalist character back in the day, you get a new quest where Sylvanas actually sends you a message from within the maw, which is a little bit ridiculous, actually quite a bit ridiculous when you really examine it in depth. Despite that, however, she does give us some hints on what is going on and some characters returning. She talks to your character, calling you her most loyal ally, and says that she is now speaking from beyond the Veil of Death, meaning she's still certainly within the Maw. She says her work penance continues, and even though the Maw is an unlikely place to find peace, each soul she rescues helps her feel a little more whole. Now let's just stop real quick here. I mean, who really cares how she feels, whether Sylvanas is feeling whole? I really don't like that Blizzard is trivializing the crimes she had committed, like the dozens and dozens of crimes she had committed. Keep in mind, just because she is saving souls doesn't mean that she didn't kill them in the first place and that she didn't commit these terrible acts. If you may remember, she burned down an entire city full of civilians, she created a massive war across all of Azeroth that led to so many deaths across all the continents, much more than just the Night Elves, and most importantly, in this context, not only did she lead the Alliance to attack her people and her capital city, but she ended up blighting it herself and made it completely uninhabitable for the Forsaken, leaving them without a home for at least a year. Even worse, I mean, she has obvious responsibility for anyone that was hurt by this blight in the reclaiming process as well, because obviously it wasn't easy to recover the city from what she had unleashed upon it. Sylvanas killed Sourfang, broke the veil which unleashed the scourge upon innocence, and to top it all off, she made a funnel to send all these souls into the Maw. Now, she's talking about saving these souls, but that is not even the problem. The problem was killing them in the first place and everything else she did. But let's continue on the actual dialogue that we have. She says that she is pondering on her deeds. Since being raised into undeath, she has many regrets and wishes she could take it back. However, she is proud of one thing, and that is helping the Forsaken find their place in the world that shunned them. Now, while this may have made some sense like 10 years ago, keep in mind she abandoned those Forsaken, destroyed their capital, left them without a home for a year, used blight on her own people, raised Horde and Lance troops in the battle for Lordaeron. But interestingly enough, she says that her time to to lead may be over, she was always stand against those who would call you monsters. Obviously, she's referring to the Scarlet Crusade, which realistically damaged the Forsaken a lot less than her in the grand scheme of things. I mean, the Scarlet Crusade are really not that bad when compared to Sylvanas, but apparently she's happy with the leadership of the Desolate Council and the fact that the Forsaken are still with the Horde. And then she says one of the most ridiculous lines, and that is that the Forsaken should know that they were more than just arrows in her quiver. First of all, this isn't even true at all. I mean, they were worse than just arrows in her quiver. I'm not even talking about the toy soldier thing she said back in that cinematic. Is Blizzard literally forgetting that she left the Forsaken without the capital? Her people became refugees because of her actions. A lot of the Forsaken territory is still destroyed up to this day. Just imagine, like, if someone destroyed your house you couldn't return for years and then comes back and says, like, remember, you mean quite a lot to me. However, next is the most ridiculous line, where she says that the Forsaken are like her family and that one day she hopes that she will be able to walk among them once again. This, to me, it became obvious that this wasn't just flavor text and some closure for the Forsaken, but Blizzard writers are literally setting her up to return in the next expansion or the expansion after that. It is very obvious because they could have done this entire questline without the Sylvanas part, or without her saying she hopes to walk among them once again. Personally, I really just have no idea why. Why not just leave her alone? I mean, let's all just accept that the entire storyline of Shadowlands was at least a mess. It obviously wasn't good. Let's just ignore her, and that is really the best we can do in this entire scenario. The damage has been done, but I feel like we should just leave her on this endless mission. Let's not give her a speed boost to her endless quest and so that she can come back and walk among her people. Personally, I always saw that sentence as like a mythological thing, sort of like pushing the stone up a hill but never actually being able to do it. I never actually saw her being able to accomplish that goal in like 5 to 10 years. Now, don't get me wrong, I mean, Sylvanas as a character isn't exactly all that bad, or wasn't bad prior to BFA when they have drastically altered her. Originally, Sylvanas was a pretty good tragic character. She was one of the best WoW characters, a high elf that fell defending her kingdom. Then she was stuck in a terrible scenario where she was enemy to everyone, but she was also super morally grey herself. But Blizzard decided to just nuke her into oblivion a few expansions back. Then they made an entire flimsy justification about the split soul thing, and now everything is suddenly okay. I'm not sure how Blizzard pulls this exactly, but I can guarantee that the reception to that finale wasn't good. At most, people saw it as completely neutral, as in she's actually getting punished in some way, not just being redeemed, but now even that seems to be off the table. Personally, I find it really strange that Blizzard is just so hypersensitive about quest texts and very minor plot points from the past, yet they keep pushing and trying to redeem a character that burns down entire cities, raises her own allies into undeath against her will. But, you know, she's now saving the souls from oblivion, so all of that is of course okay. You're not arrows in my quiver. However, rant aside, she does say that there are many more souls to be freed, and among them is one that is most dear to her. This is 100% obviously referring to Nathanos, who has been missing pretty much since the start of Shadowlands, and we learn that she still hasn't found him, and the only good thing from this entire plot point would be learning what actually happened to this guy, why was he in that cinematic, and then he was just completely gone after that without a single clue. Then to finish it off, Sylvanas speaks the High Elven language, says farewell my friend, referring to the loyalist player. Now, keep in mind, I'm not saying that Sylvanas is a terrible character. She wasn't obviously the jailer, like she wasn't undeveloped, but she was a good character that turned into the jailer ultimately, and honestly, after all this writing, I really feel like there is no way to write her out of the hole, and ideally, she should just be left alone and we should really just focus on other storylines. Let's just keep Sylvanas in the background. Thank you for watching. Check out Blizzard's official response on a pirate expansion happening by clicking on the screen, and check out my second channel for real world history and mythology. See you next time!